She caught me looking. Not once, 3 times. And the third time, she smiled. That smile? It didn't say stop. It said, keep going, just don't get caught. My name's Ryan. I'm 23. I'd known Mark, my best friend, since 7th grade. I'd known his mom, Linda, well since then too. But lately, I'd been noticing her differently. And I think she noticed that. Mark invited me over after class to hang out, watch the game. His usual routine. We got wings, argued about fantasy picks, and laughed like nothing had changed. But I knew it had ever since the last visit. Back then, I caught myself watching her walk up the stairs. This time, I didn't even pretend not to look. Kitchen, early evening. Warm golden hour light. The air smells like rosemary and detergent. Mark had gone upstairs to shower. I offered to help clean up. Don't break anything, he called from the hall, towel over his shoulder. Real funny, I said, tossing a plate into the sink. And then, like she waited for that exact moment, Linda entered, barefoot, leggings, fitted gray top, her hair slightly damp like she'd also just showered earlier. She moved past me, pulled something from the cabinet, and caught my reflection in the oven door. Our eyes met, briefly. Then she turned and leaned against the fridge, crossed her arms, tilted her head, and smirked. You've been quiet, she said. I'm letting Mark talk enough for both of us, I replied. MHM. Her tone had something else layered under it, not sarcasm. More like suspicion or curiosity. She stepped closer. You keep looking at me like that and you'll give yourself away. I froze. What? Her smile deepened just slightly. Relax, she said. I know exactly what you want. The air in the kitchen seemed heavier after that, like the temperature had jumped a few degrees, just for me. She turned away and began rinsing a wine glass in the sink. Mark's upstairs, she added without looking. 10 minutes, maybe less. I swallowed. I was just helping. I know. She reached into the cabinet above me. Her arm brushed mine. I didn't move. She didn't either, not for a beat too long. Then she leaned in just enough to whisper, just don't make it obvious. He's not stupid. That was it. The boundary. Unspoken but unmistakable. You can look. You can stay. Just don't be obvious. Footsteps creaked upstairs. Then the rush of water stopped. Mark's voice rang out from the hall. Yo, Ryan, you good down there? Linda didn't flinch. She looked right at me and whispered, very. Then she walked toward the kitchen island, picked up a half-folded towel, and began wiping the counter, like nothing happened. I stood there, still frozen, until the footsteps hit the stairs. Mark entered in shorts and a fresh t-shirt. Yo, you see my charger? I blinked, then pointed at the dining table. There, I think. Linda didn't look at either of us. She just said, you boys hungry again? I could make something. Mark grabbed the charger and yawned. I'm good. We're heading to my room. Anyway, I followed him out, but not before one last glance over my shoulder. Linda was wiping the same spot, still smirking. We headed upstairs. Mark talked about stats. I didn't hear a word, because before I left the kitchen, Linda had leaned in and whispered one last thing. Come by tomorrow. I'm making lunch. I don't remember what excuse I used. Something about needing my notebook. Or maybe it was my sunglasses. Didn't matter. I just needed to see if she meant it. The next day, early afternoon, the house is quieter than usual. Sunlight spills across the living room carpet. No game on. No background noise. Just silence. Mark's car wasn't in the driveway. That surprised me, but not enough to turn back. The front door opened after a single knock. Linda stood there, hair in a loose bun, sleeveless black tank top, no shoes. The sunlight behind me caught the edge of her collarbone. You made it, she said simply. I held up my phone. Forgot my notebook yesterday. She raised an eyebrow. Did you? I hesitated. She stepped aside to let me in, brushing my arm as I passed. Mark's out. Grocery run. He'll be back soon. There was something in her voice. Casual, but precise. Like every word was measured. I walked into the kitchen and froze. The table was already set. 2 plates. 1 glass of wine. 1 glass of water. Thought you said lunch, I murmured. Linda walked past me. I did. I didn't say for who. Then, but now that you're here. She opened the fridge, pulled out something already plated. Cold pasta, some kind of herb chicken. She moved with the kind of quiet confidence that made everything feel rehearsed, like she'd done this before. You should sit, she said without looking. I did. She placed the plate in front of me, then turned and poured the wine into my glass. Took the water for herself. I stared at the red swirl in the cup. I'm 23, you know? I know, she said, then sat down across from me. Not close, but closer than needed. Low hum of the fridge. Light breeze through the open window. Her bare foot brushed against mine beneath the table, or maybe it was an accident. She didn't move it either way. We didn't talk much while eating. She watched me more than her food. At one point, she reached to pour herself more water. Her arm grazed mine. This time I didn't move. She stood to grab a napkin from the drawer and returned with a folded red ribbon. She placed it next to my plate. What's this? I asked. She smiled softly. A reminder. For what? She didn't answer. Instead, she looked toward the front door, then back at me. You should go soon. Why? She leaned in. Her voice dropped. Because if you don't, you're going to stay. Footsteps. The threat returns. Just then, we both heard it. The muffled sound of a car pulling into the driveway. Car door closing. Keys jingling. She stood quickly, took both plates to the sink. I shot up, stepping back from the table. Linda spun and pressed the red ribbon into my palm. Take it, she whispered. Now go. Slowly. The front door opened. Mark's voice. Mom? I forgot my card. I stepped out of the kitchen just in time to see him tossing his keys on the hallway table. He blinked when he saw me. Dude, you still here? I forced a shrug. Yeah, just got back. Left something. Mark grabbed his wallet from the kitchen counter, not even glancing at his mom. Linda had her back turned, pretending to scrub a plate. I'll be back in 20, Mark said. Sure, Linda replied casual. He gave me a strange look. You good? I nodded too quickly. Yeah, later. As he turned to go, I slipped the ribbon into my hoodie pocket and walked out the front door. My heart was racing by the time I got into my car. Not because of what happened, but because of what didn't. We were seconds away, and we both knew it. That night, I found something in my jacket, not the ribbon that was still in my pocket. It was a slip of paper folded into a perfect square. Inside, in her handwriting, you forgot your wine. Next time, Thursday. Noon. I shouldn't have come back. Not this soon. Not when the house was quiet again and the memory of her note still burned in my back pocket. But I did. And I didn't knock this time. Mark's house. Late afternoon. Overcast outside. The air inside is dim and still. Living room lit only by a single lamp in the corner. Shadows crawl along the walls. Linda opened the door halfway, then stepped aside without a word. She was barefoot again. Black fitted tee, dark jeans. No makeup. No perfume. Just her. Present. A little breathless. I stepped in and closed the door slowly behind me. Clicked. Loud in the silence. You're early, she said, half turning toward me. You said 3. It's 2:50. She looked at the clock on the wall and smiled without humor. I didn't think you'd actually show. I stepped closer. But you wanted me to. Her eyes didn't flinch. I wanted to see if you would. She walked into the living room and sat on the edge of the couch, one leg tucked under the other. There was a glass of wine on the table already, untouched. The same red ribbon lay beside it. I stayed standing, unsure of how close was too close. Linda picked up the ribbon and ran it between her fingers. "Do you know why I gave you this?" she asked. "Because you wanted to see if I'd keep it." She looked up. "No. I wanted to see if you'd bring it back." I took it out of my jacket pocket and placed it beside her glass. Her fingers brushed mine lightly, then lingered. "Good," she said. "That means you're not lying to yourself." I sat next to her, close, too close. She didn't move away. "I don't think I can go back to how it was," I said. Linda tilted her head slightly. "You haven't even crossed the line yet." "What if I want to?" She gave a soft exhale. "Then you'd better be very sure." Our faces were inches apart now. My hand hovered at her knee. Her breath slowed. And then a car door slammed outside. We both froze. Linda stood up instantly, walked across the room, peered through the curtains. "It's just the mailman," she said. But her voice was shakier than before. I stood too, heart thudding. She turned, her voice low. "You see now?" I nodded. "It's not just about you and me." "No," she said. "It never was." I looked at her, really looked, no smirk, no teasing. Just a woman standing in her own house, afraid of what it would cost to want something. "I think about you," I said. "Often." Her eyes didn't leave mine. "Say that again." "I think about you. Every time I'm here. Even when I'm not." She stepped forward, slow, silent, and placed the ribbon in my hand. Not teasing this time. No mystery. Just giving it back. It wasn't a game anymore. It was a promise. Something said without words. As I turned to leave, she followed me to the door. Before I stepped out, she tucked something into my hoodie pocket, soft and cold. Then, in a whisper, "Come back when no one else is home. I'll leave the back door unlocked." I didn't sleep that night, not because I was nervous, because I was certain. The next morning, I canceled everything. I lied to my boss. I lied to my girlfriend. I even lied to Mark, told him I was feeling sick and couldn't make it to our regular Thursday gym meetup. But the truth? I had already chosen to go back. And I knew this time something would break. Late morning, overcast skies. The air is thick with the kind of stillness that comes before rain. I approached the back door of her house. Again, the ribbon was there, tied gently to the door handle. Red, soft, deliberate. I touched it, then pushed the door open. She didn't greet me, didn't need to. She was at the kitchen table, nursing a mug of coffee. No wine, no games. She looked tired, but not from lack of sleep, from years of holding everything in. I closed the door behind me and stood there, waiting. After a long pause, she said, "I got married at 22, pregnant with Mark at 23. I said nothing. She kept staring into her coffee. "My husband was always somewhere else. Business trips, meetings, conferences. And when he was here, he wasn't." She finally looked at me. For years, I convinced myself I didn't need to be seen, just needed to survive. I stepped closer. "You don't have to explain." "I do," she said sharply. Then softer, "Because this isn't just a game to me anymore." I swallowed hard. She continued, "I'm still technically married, but we haven't shared a room in over 2 years. And no one talks about it. Not even Mark. They all pretend we're still that perfect picture." She smiled bitterly. "And maybe I let them. I make my choice." I sat across from her. "I told people I was sick today, Mark included." She looked up. "You didn't have to do that." "I did," I said. "I wanted to." I pulled out my phone and, without thinking twice, turned it off and placed it face down on the table. Her eyes lingered on it, then on me. "That's a dangerous habit," she whispered. "I think we're past safe habits," I replied. We stayed like that for minutes, not saying anything. The silence was heavy, but not uncomfortable. Her hand moved toward mine. I took it, No games. No tension. Just two people making a choice in a world that would never approve. We didn't hear the car pull up, but we both heard the knock. Not at the back door, at the front one. 3 hard, rhythmic knocks, the kind only someone close would use. Linda's face went pale instantly. She stood, peeked through the living room curtain, and turned to me slowly. "Mark," she whispered. "He's home." My chest tightened. He never comes home this early. He must have changed his class schedule. What do I do? She looked at me, completely exposed. No mask, no smirk. Just fear. Real fear. "Laundry room," she said quickly. "There's a side door. If you're quiet, he won't hear it open." I nodded, stepped into the hallway. She opened the front door for Mark as I slipped through the shadows. Heart pounding, ears straining for every sound. I waited just outside the house for 10 minutes. Rain had started falling, light, cold. Inside, I could hear vague voices. Mark asking about something. Linda answering like nothing was wrong. It was a performance. And she was brilliant. I should have walked away, called it off, told her it was too much. But as I stood there in the rain, the laundry room door cracked open slightly. Her hand reached out, holding something. Another note. She didn't speak. She just pressed it into my hand and closed the door again. I unfolded it as I walked away. Inside. "Tomorrow. Same time. But only if you're still sure." Underneath it, a new ribbon, black this time. The sky was clearer the next day. But inside me, storm. I reread her note more times than I could count. "Tomorrow. Same time. But only if you're still sure." I was, even if I couldn't explain why, back in trance again. Noon. Quiet suburban stillness. The black ribbon was gone. No note this time. Just the door slightly open. Like an invitation. Or a test. I stepped inside. She stood in the hallway. Plain white shirt. No jewelry. Hair down. No barrier. No mystery. Just Linda. Neither of us spoke at first. She looked at me the way people look at something they know they shouldn't touch and still do. Then finally, "Are you here to say goodbye?" "No." I closed the door behind me. "I'm here to stop pretending." We didn't speak again. She stepped forward. I stepped closer. And somewhere between our hands brushing and our breath catching, the moment broke open. We kissed. Nothing else. No rush. No lines crossed we couldn't return from. Just the truth of it. All the weight, all the tension, all the silence of what we'd held back now pouring forward into a single, still moment. And that was enough. After we sat together on the living room floor, backs against the wall, knees touching, no plan, no map, just two people in the middle of something they couldn't name. "This can't last," she said quietly. "I know. We'd destroy too much. I know. So what do we do?" I thought for a long time. Then, "We keep it ours. No one else's. No explanations. No confessions." She nodded. "No regrets." I turned to her. "And no promises." A soft smile. "Except one." "What's that?" "You come back. Only when you know you can look at me the same way." I nodded. I hadn't seen Mark since. We texted. Excuses. Exams. Life. But I couldn't go back. Not yet. Then one afternoon, walking past their house, I noticed something on the backyard fence. A single ribbon. Black. Faded slightly from the rain. Tied carefully. No note. No instructions. Just the ribbon. Waiting. And for the first time in days I smiled because the door wasn't open this time. But the ribbon meant it could be.